We will now have a pledge of allegiance and invocation, should he pleases, by Councilman Ledford.
Mr. Chair, would you please rise, face the flag, and render the proper salute, and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Chairman, I move the agenda.
Thank you very much, Councilman. At this time, we will have a special recognition and grateful acknowledgement by Councilwoman Burrs.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Unfortunately, sometimes sad things happen, and we've had a rash of those lately, and one of them happened with a killing at Walmart around New Year's Eve. And Mr. Williams was killed as he was trying to get in the way of some other folks in the Walmart shopping lot getting hurt. We on the council feel that that's worthy of some sort of notice, and I would like for Mr. Williams' family to come up, please.
Thank you. I got one.
Are you calling? They're calling a relative from out of town so that he can hear. Huh? His oldest son. If he would like to, if you'd like to put it here. Good afternoon, AJ. Thank you for joining us. I wish you could be here, but I'm Councilwoman Carol Burrs, and I'm getting ready to read the resolution. Thank you for being with us. This is a Chattanooga City Council resolution, a resolution recognizing and gratefully acknowledging Alfred Williams for his heroism and bravery. Whereas Mr. Alfred Williams was a committed husband and father with a very passionate spirit, and whereas on New Year's Eve 2019, Mr. Williams demonstrated extreme courage and selflessness, shielding and saving several lives at the Brainerd Road Walmart, and whereas Mr. Williams will not only be remembered for his fearlessness, but also for his love of his community, family, and friends, as well as his love for life. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Chattanooga City Council recognizes and gratefully acknowledges Alfred Williams for his heroism. It's signed by me, but it's from every one of my colleagues. So, and do you want to say a word?
Thank you, Council, for allowing the family to be here and to speak up for my uncle, Alfred Williams. I just want to say that my uncle was probably the most pure-hearted man in this city. He was a hard worker. It didn't matter if he didn't have a car, he was getting there. If anybody needed a shirt or shoes or anything, anybody needed anything, my uncle was going to be there for him. He didn't care if he was family or just a friend or a stranger. He would be there. I just really hate that this is happening in our city, to where we have innocent bystanders, lives being taken for no reason. He was shot on his lunch break. City. And I know, the inner city community we always going back and forth with the city council about what needs to be done in our communities to stop this violence. And honestly, we're all failing. We all are, the inner city communities, everybody, the city, the police, we are failing. We are failing our people, we are failing the citizens of Chattanooga, because this could have happened to anybody. And I'm asking the city from this day forward, if there's anything that the inner city community can come to you all and we can honestly just really get together and make a move to change what's going on, we have to do it now. It has to be now. Because I'm tired of losing loved ones. And I know a lot of people in this city are tired as well. So again, the family, We thank you all for honoring my uncle, but let's do something to make sure this doesn't happen again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let's give the family and Mr. Williams a round of applause, please. Yeah. Thank you, Councilwoman Byrd and Councilman Byrd, for showing the leadership and moving forward with making this happen this evening. Now at this time, I ask for the approval of the minutes. It's been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposes nay. Motion carries. Now at this time, we'll move on to ordinances on final reading. Madam Clerk, let's start with 5A.
An ordinance amending Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance, so as to rezone properties located in the 6200 block of Dayton Boulevard, more particularly described herein from R1 residential zone and C2 convenience commercial zone to A1 urban agricultural zone and R3 residential zone.
Vice Chairman Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have received no opposition to this. I move for approval.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposes nay. Motion carries. 5B, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance, so as to rezone property located at 2767 North Point Boulevard, more particularly described herein from M3 warehouse and wholesale zone to R3 residential zone.
We have Councilman Smith, followed by Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move approval.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposes nay. Motion carries.
Thank you very
Items-
much.
Okay. Family, if you would like to leave, but please feel free to stay if you like, but we just want you to know you don't have to stay. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Item C, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance, so as to rezone property located at 3505 Divine Avenue, more particularly described herein from R2 residential zone to O1 office zone.
We have Vice Chairman Henderson, followed by Councilman Ledford.
Mr. Chair, this is in your district. It did pass first reading with no objection from you. I move for approval.
I have none. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's been moved and properly seconded by Councilman Ledford. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposes nay. Motion carries. Item D, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance, so as to lift conditions from ordinance number 12197, a previous case number 2018-0161, from part of the property located at 1605 East 12th Street, more particularly described herein.
We have Councilman Byrd, followed by Councilwoman Coonrod.
Move to approve.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposes nay. Motion carries. Item E, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance, so as to rezone property located at 1806 Bailey Avenue, more particularly described herein from R4 Special Zone to Urban General Commercial Zone, subject to certain conditions.
Councilwoman Coonrod, followed by Councilman Byrd. Move to approve. It's been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposes nay. Motion carries. Item F.
An ordinance amending Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance, Article 5 zoning regulations, Division 6, R2 residential zones, Section 3894, height and area regulations, 4 minimum building setback to clarify side yard setback requirements for townhouse developments.
Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is Mr. Schultz here?
Yes.
I know Mr. Bridger is under the weather, so thanks for being here. Can you give us that side yard setback requirement that clarified for townhomes?
Right now, it's not clear in the R2 zone. There is no side setback for townhomes, so we're adding a sentence that says, when a townhome exists, there is no side yard setback between that common wall.
Very good. And what does that clarify, or solve for us?
That there is no side setback helps LDO with enforcement.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Move for approval.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by a sign of aye. Opposes nay. Motion carries. We will now move on to ordinances on first reading. Madam Clerk, please read 6A.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 2, Section 2409, Section 2410E3, and Section 2418 relative to the Fire and Police Pension Fund.
Councilwoman Burrs.
Move approval.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposes nay. Motion carries. Item 6B.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 5, Article 3, Division 2, Section 571, relative to temporary beer permits, Section 575, relative to distance requirements, and Section 587, relative to Station Street, and to add Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 5, Article 3, Division 2, Section 589, relative to training.
What's your pleasure, council? It's been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposes nay. Motion carries. Seeing that the next items is in my district, I will now yield the chair to Vice Chairman Henderson.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, would you please read item 7A?
A resolution approving short-term vacation rental application number 19 STVR00128 for property located at 721 Broad Street, Unit 1204.
Chairman Oglesby.
Yes, Mr. Nobley, would you like to give us some background information before
Yes,
we
sir.
move forward?
This is a property that is currently involved, that is a pilot property here with the Health and Education and Housing Facilities Board. We received a request, at least through the Economic and Community Development Department, that they have decided not to pursue these permits in light of your ordinance that was adopted on December the 17th.
All right, sir.
So would this need to be withdrawn or denied?
At this point in time, they have requested not to pursue it. You could either withdraw it, or you can, there's no one here, I don't believe, this evening on this matter for both this one and item 7B.
Okay, then, council, I move to deny.
We have a motion to deny. Councilman Ledford?
Second.
Okay, now I have a second. Are there any questions? All those in favor of the denial, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries to deny. Madam Clerk, 7B, please.
A resolution approving short-term vacation rental application number 19 STVR00129 for property located at 721 Broad Street, Unit 212.
Councilman Oglesby.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. This is the same property and the same conditions exist. With that being said, I move to deny.
All right, sir, we have a motion on the floor. Councilman Ledford?
Second.
And now we have a second. Any questions? All in favor of the denial with aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Motion carries. Madam Clerk, 7C, please.
A resolution approving short-term vacation rental application number 19 STVR00168 for property located at 3201 East 36th Street.
All right, do we have the applicant in the room? Okay. Is there any opposition to the application in the room? Okay. Councilman, would you like a presentation?
Yes, I would like the presentation, Mr. Vice Chair.
Mr. Young?
If you would put the PowerPoint presentation up. So we have the application STVR, or 19-STVR-00168, 3201 East 36th Street. We have a map here reflecting the other STVRs in the area. The property that's under review is in the center and is identified by blue. The others around, the ones that are identified in purple, are the non-owner occupied. The green identifies the owner occupied. This is the aerial view. Here's the view from the front, right directly in front in the street of the home, and then we have a couple that are showing down the street, down 36, excuse me. Now this is along 5th Avenue because the home is located at the corner of 36 and 5th. We have the view back towards Dodge Avenue on 36th and the other direction on 5th. Side view of the home, and here's the process. So the application was received on October 31st, 2019, and we reviewed and approved the application. Email was sent to the applicant, and the sign and the inspection information was sent out. Opposition letters were mailed out by RPA on November the 1st. The sign was posted in front of the property on November the 5th, as per the ordinance. As of today, we have no record of the building inspector being invited to the property to do the inspection. I just confirmed that before coming to this meeting with our building inspectors that the property still has not been inspected, and here we are.
Thank you very much.
Any questions?
I have
Mr. Young? Okay. Councilman Ledford? Is that, okay. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, the applicant will have 5 minutes, and then after that 5 minutes, the opposition may have 5 minutes. Would you
Yes.
give us your name, please?
Yes.
And
My name is Megan Stevens. I'm the property manager for this property. Jim Stevens is the owner. He's owned this property since July 2012. Just recently, we realized this property fell into this section for short-term vacation rentals, and that was something that he was moving forward to pursue. And we started the application, as you can see the timeline above, and we started the inspection for the property, but received the opposition letter, and so we stopped the code inspector to come in and continue that. So we have the what needs to be taken care of on the property, but since we received the letter for this, at that time we stopped the repairs on the property, not wanting to spend all the money to get it to that point, not knowing if it would get to that point. But for the short-term rental, Jim Stevens also has the same wants as the opposition does of building a stronger community and place of living in that area. I know there is a big project with that park going on right in front of the property. And Jim also wants to be able to bring the property up to a place in the community, to a place that welcomes short-term vacation rental guests. And with short-term vacation rentals, the way they work is through reviews, and when people come to the property, they review the property. So if the property is not kept in the correct or in great condition, then you get the negative reviews, and in that case, you don't get guests coming. And so for us, that's a huge deal. So keeping the property to pristine condition and keeping the property to the best that we possibly can is our desire as well. And we're also putting things in place for making sure that we're putting the correct residents or tenants, I guess you would call, renters for the property. We have a third-party system called AutoHost, which actually does a quick summary of each guest that applies to rent out the property. It scans them, it gives them different levels for us to see before we officially say yes or no to the guest.